Hello there, cosmonauts, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, our career mode playthrough. And, well, if you have a look at our space center, it sure looks very different, doesn't it? And that's because, to start this episode off, I've got some great news, and that is that I've managed to get the 32-bit version working with all of the mods. And, you know, who'd have thought it? There's mods for everything. In fact, the thing that fixed the broken mod compatibility was another mod. It's fantastic, and with that I've been able to actually add some of the other mods that I've wanted to add since the very beginning of this series, and also add some new mods that I've managed to find as well that just look really interesting and very cool. So the updated list of mods is going to be below the video in the description. Do check it out because there's quite a lot and you guys might be interested in finding some mods for yourself. And also, yeah, I mean, we'll have a quick look into the R&D department so I can show you kind of what we've got already. Now, the dangerous reentry is on, so we have to actually put heat shields on our vessels, otherwise we'll burn up on reentry. I've managed to get TAC Life Support up and running as well, which means that we have to take food, water and oxygen up into space for our Kerbals to survive. We've also got some bays that can store basically like resources, and those will be attachable. There they are, storage resources, and we will see them in action later on. Obviously we've still got station science, but basically there's not a huge amount at the moment that we've unlocked in the tech tree, but you guys will find it out as we go on. I've also got improved trajectories, which means that we can see where we're going to land once we hit the atmosphere, which is going to be great for landing our vessels back at the space center. That's going to be really important so we can recover more funds. So we need to kind of get ourselves up and running with some more contracts here. We don't have any contracts active, and I've got to say the difficulty ramp up in these contracts is really quite a lot. You know, a lot of these things are going to be just simply impossible for us to do at this point in time. And that's a shame, but I'm going to go ahead and accept a few contracts here and attempt to do them all simultaneously. So what I'm going to do is we want to test the, let's see, the Radial mount parachute, the Mark II Radial mount parachute. We'll test that in flight over Kerbin. We want to test the Rocketry brand decoupler splashed down at Kerbin. We want to test the radial decoupler on a suborbital trajectory, and we also want to test the SRB in flight over Kerbin as well. So that's 4 contracts that we're going to try and do all at once here, because the thing is, we need money. It's not so much science that we need anymore, we need money. A successful space company needs a lot of money, a lot of funding to get off the ground. So anyway, we need to go into our VAB here, and we'll probably just design a whole new rocket to do this, because we're going to want to try and get all of these contracts fulfilled in one journey, and that's going to be 4 contracts in one. So we'll start off with our command pod as usual, and this command pod starts or has food, water, oxygen in it already, so we don't have to worry about that for now. It's only going to be an issue when we go really far out, and we've also got an ablative heat shield on the bottom as well by default, which means we don't have to worry about re-entry. But saying that, we're not going to have to go too high, we only need to go up to a suborbital trajectory here, and that's going to be absolutely fine. So we're not going to be orbiting Kerbin on this little mission. So let's add ourselves the radial mount parachutes. Where are they? They're in utility. There's a lot more stuff in here all of a sudden that we're going to have to navigate our way through. The radial mount parachute's in here somewhere. There it is, the Mark II-R. And we'll put those on either side of the vessel. Perfect. And that's the radial mount parachute that we need to test at 10,000 to 19,000 meters at 300 meters per second. So we're going to want to be going pretty fast at that point. The other is splashdown and suborbital without any speed requirements, and we also need to test the S1 SRB, which I'm not sure what that is. Let's find out. I think it's this one. Oh my goodness, that thing is huge. Wow, that's massive. The super heavy booster. Okay, well that's gonna be kind of scary. Let's see how we need to test this. We need to perform the test by activating the part. Right, okay. Oh wait, hold on. Do we have to activate that through staging? Oh, we do. Uh-oh. Well, that's annoying. Alright, that's going to be difficult to test, I think. What we need to do is be very careful. I think if we just scale this down, make it really small. Okay, that's gone a bit big. Wow, wow, look at that. It's huge. I've never seen an SRB so large. Well, that's kind of bugged out. TweakScale, why you do this? Look at that. It's going through the floor there, 7.5 meters wide. I want to scale it down and make it tiny. Even though that's not really tiny. It'll do the trick for now. This is going to be a really weird vessel, I'm telling you. So we're going to put that as at the core of our vessel. We also need to test the Rocketmax brand decoupler. Now this is a really big one, but we will put that underneath and it'll shrink down thanks to TweakScale. We'll stick that underneath, and we'll have to just take advantage of the fact that yes, it is floating in air, in midair, but it will be absolutely fine. So that we want to test when we're splashed down. We can actually get away with putting this on a bit lower. I want to put a fuel tank on here. This is going to be such a weird vessel. It's going to be so weird. But I like the challenge of trying to get them all done in one single thing. The SRB then, we'll chuck that off at some point. We just need to put another decoupler on here, I think. Oh wait, no, we want an engine as well. Oh dear. We need to get a suborbital trajectory. So we need to make sure we got enough delta V in this thing as well. My goodness me. We'll stick that one on. And then we'll put the radial decouplers on the side. Which ones are we testing here? The TT70s? That would be these badges. Alright. Get a couple of those on and tweak them down so they're smaller. Don't want to weigh us down. There we go. Alright, so they're going to be on the side. That's fine. We also want to put a thingy on like that. We want to put one of these on there. And then we want to stick... Oh man, this is so weird. We want to test this one in flight. Okay, that's fine. We can do this one. That's going to take us up there. That's fine. Test that while splashed down. That's going to be fine. And the radial mount parachute, we've got them on as well. So that, again, is going to be fine. It's just this one, testing this solid rocket booster in flight over Kerbal. We've got to be going pretty fast, pretty low. So I don't know. We'll test something like this. We'll put 3 radial decouplers on, right? And then we will boost ourselves up. We got to make sure though that we have enough delta V to actually get up to a suborbital trajectory as well. So there's a lot to take into consideration here. What we're going to do is stick 3 SRBs on the bottom, because you know that makes sense, right? Totally doesn't make sense, but whatever. It's fine. Stick those on there a little bit lower because I don't want them to be glitching through. So what we'll do, we'll fire the 3 SRBs on the outside, okay? And then we'll fire, once we get up to speed, we'll fire this SRB, and that will allow us to do the test. Then we'll throttle, we can't throttle them back, that's the problem, so we have to thrust limit them. And we'll thrust limit this one in the middle as well, so we're not going too fast. And then we'll decouple them. Oh my goodness. And then we'll fire this engine here. And then we'll test these guys. And we also want to test our parachutes amongst all this as well. And now the question is, when do we test our parachutes? I think we'll test them on the way back down. Hopefully we'll be going fast enough to test them on the way down. And then we want to test the brand decoupler while we're splashed down. So hopefully we're not going to burn up in the atmosphere here as we come back. I don't think we will. So this is going to be the NovaStar stupid, because it is just so ridiculous. I just hope we've got enough delta V here to be able to pull this off. Like, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out. Alright, let's just see what happens. Whoever's flying this thing is in for a wild ride, that's for sure. I tell you that. Okay. Okay, so here we are on the launch pad. This is going to be a dangerous little mission right here. Okay, so what we've got to do is, first of all, test the S1 SRB. This is the one at the center here. And once we're up to speed, up to altitude, we're going to go for it. Oh my goodness me. That is a lot of torque in that. These 3 SRBs at the bottom here are going to be boosting us up to a pretty high speed, let's be honest. Hopefully we can maintain that speed and then get up to altitude pretty quickly. Okay. we've got the speed requirement. Now we need the altitude requirement. And then we'll activate this thing through the staging sequence on the left side at 5,600 meters. And we're a little bit early yet. In fact, let's just wait a second here. Alright, activate. Activate. There we go. That's done. And oh my god, we're going so fast. Okay. Alright, great. Now let's chuck these guys off the side. And we are going to start slowing down a little bit here, as this SRB simply cannot do that. Oh, let's test our parachutes now. We've got all of the requirements for that. Oh no, we're not going fast enough. Damn it, we slowed down too far. Well, that's a shame. I guess then we'll stick our parachutes back up here. Our SRB going to be bringing us up to a pretty high altitude, to be honest with you. We need to now test the... What do we want to test next? We want to test the radial decoupler soon. So, I mean, this SRB is probably going to take us right the way up at this rate. I mean, look at that. We're going at 280 meters per second. We need to get up to, our apoapsis rather, up to 70,000. And we're going to be able to do that pretty easily, or 79,000 even. So, we just need to keep it going. This SRB here is fantastic. Look at this. Burning down its fuel. We've got our liquid fuel stage next, just in case we don't get up to the right height. But I think we're going to be able to reach 79,000 pretty easily just off of this SRB, to be honest with you. Wow, I can't believe that. That was such a ridiculous launch. I've never seen such a stupid rocket in my life, but it works. If it works, it's not stupid. Let's put it that way. So SRB gonna fire now. We're really low on fuel. I don't know actually if we will reach the 80,000, but we have got our liquid fuel stage next, and well, I mean things are spiffing at the moment. I thought we were going to start burning up in the lower atmosphere. That would have been really bad. We were going very fast at the start of that launch there. So anyway, up to 63,000, and our SRB is about to burn out. We're going really fast, but that's a good thing. SRB is out. Let's fire our next stage, which is our little gas burner stove, and rise up to 79,000, just over. Cut the engine. And then we can fire our radial decouplers once we get up to the right height. We will be on a suborbital trajectory because obviously we're not going to be going around Kerbin, we're going to be going up and down. And once we get to 79,000 meters, which is not going to take us too long, I'll time warp up to that. There we go, we'll be able to fire our radial decouplers off and complete that test. There we go, fire them, bam. Second test completed, and now we need to test our parachutes. Now, I'm a little bit concerned that we will slow down too quickly. As we come into the atmosphere, obviously we're going to slow down very quickly. If at 19,000 meters we're going too slow, I won't be able to test the chutes. But we'll keep an eye on that. We'll time warp up once again as we work our way down. We're going pretty quickly already. But obviously 30,000 feet, that's when we're going to start slowing down. And obviously we are going to be, well, probably not burning up too much in the atmosphere. The worry here is we have got deadly reentry. If we do go too fast, we may find ourselves losing an engine here as we start to burn up. But I don't think we're really going to burn up. So we need to basically cut our speed and fire the chutes as soon as this goes up. And we're too low. Oh, that's a shame. That is a shame. We were very close to being able to pull that off there. I was hoping that would work. We had the right speed and we were nearly at the altitude, but we just dropped below altitude before we could deploy the chutes, unfortunately. So anyway, the chutes deploying, we didn't burn up as we re-entered because we weren't going fast enough. And oh no, there's another problem. There's another problem. We are not going to splash down at this rate. Okay, let's try something really risky. Oh, okay. Well, that was stupid. Oh, dearie me. That was stupid. I was supposed to throttle up, not detach that stage there. Well, oops, I guess. What I wanted to do was, I know we've got our parachutes deployed, but I was hoping maybe we could fire our engines and splash down, because I still had a load of fuel left in that. Instead, I decoupled it like an idiot, and, well, that's going to crash and explode below us in just a second. There you go. What a spectacular crash. But either way, we're going to time warp now and land down. So we did 2 of the 4, and we were really, really close to being able to do more, actually. On the way up, if I'd have had my parachutes in the right place, we would have been able to do that one. on the way down, if I'd have tilted the vessel, we would have been able to land in the water, and we would have been able to test that Rocketmax brand decoupler thing, the stage separator. Then we would have been able to do them all. But hey, we did 2. That's not bad. What are we going to get from that? 39,000 funds, a little bit of reputation and science. That's great. And again, 7,000 funds, a little bit of science, and a little bit of reputation as well. I'm not going to sniff at that. We can do the next 2 contracts on the next run. And, well, we don't need to be too... well, it won't be too difficult, sorry, to do these contracts on the next time round. So anyway, I'll just cut the video here and get us down safely, because it's going to take us quite a while, even at 4 times speed. Okay, so back at the Kerbal Space Center, we've recovered our vessel. Not really many funds to gain. We got Jebediah back, which is fantastic, and our reputation is now 900. We are really getting quite high on reputation there. So 105 science, that is amazing, and that means that we can actually now come in here and unlock a new node in the tech tree. And you know what I want to do? I want to do advanced construction. In this, we have a ton of really cool things, but most notably, we've got the ability to adapt between a 2-meter stage and a 1.25 meter stage, 2.5 meter stage, sorry, and a 1.25 meter stage. We get some nice decouplers, and we can basically start using these big fuel tanks and the big rockets that we unlocked last time. The reason we can't use these at the moment is because we don't have any converters between the 2.5 meter parts and the 1.5 meter parts, and that is what this node is going to unlock. So that's fantastic, and with that we can even begin now to start putting things up in space more permanently. Things like a space station, perhaps. We've got our science lab here, Thinker Science Lab, that we can stick up there and start doing experiments whilst we orbit the planet, which it's going to be fantastic if we manage to pull that off. So anyway, 195,000 funds, sorry, and we've still got 2 contracts to do. So let's quickly go into our VAB here and complete these contracts. We are going to totally scrap, well, not scrap this vessel, we're going to keep the, alright, we need to just quickly change things around. We're going to get rid of the radial decoupler here, we're going to get rid of, we're going to get rid of that entirely, okay, and we are going to, let's see, we've got our brand decoupler and our command pod that we want to, not command pod, sorry, radial parachutes that we want to test. We need to test this while splashed down, and we need to test this whilst going at 330 meters per second at 10,000 meters. So we want to get lots of speed. And in order to do that, well, I think a solid rocket booster should do the trick. Plenty of delta V on that, and that should accelerate us very quickly, which is the important thing. Question is how quickly, and will we go too fast? Well, probably, but that doesn't matter too much. We'll put a second stack decoupler on, and that way we can just shuck this off once we've done that. So I'm going to go with this. It's still going to be called the NovaStar Stupid, because guess what? It is still very stupid, and hopefully we can pull this one off. We'll find out, I guess. We may end up spinning out of control, because this SRB is pretty damn powerful. So let's turn the SAS on here to try and keep us going straight and narrow, and we've got to remember to splash down as well in the water, so we want to tilt to the right slightly. Now before we do anything else, actually, let's just put our parachutes here, because we want to deploy our parachutes before anything else. That's what we're testing first, so let's just go. And yes, we're going pretty damn fast. Let's move horizontally a little bit here, and let's hope that we can pull this off. If we're going too fast, then it's also not going to work. So we have to make sure we're not going too fast. We want to make sure we're going up high enough. Alright, we got the speed. Chute deployment is unsafe. Yes, I know it is. I know it is very unsafe. And now we're going too fast. Uh-oh, we are going too fast. Are we going to hit altitude, though? Oh, we're going too fast. Oh, god damn it. Okay, that's a shame. We're at 19,000. Are we going to slow down? Yep. There we go. Chutes deployed. We did it. Fantastic. Fantastic. It worked. We are going to splash down as well, which is awesome. Let's decouple that. We'll chuck it off. Now, the chutes will deploy automatically once we get low enough. I'm surprised that worked, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting that to work. But hey, SRBs are nice and cheap as well, so that mission didn't even cost as much, which is awesome. and we'll just play around with these controls because we can. So we're going to splash down, which is going to be great, and then we're going to be able to test our Rocketmax brand decoupler as well. I just can't believe that worked. I mean, we're still gaining height. 21,000 meters that SRB brought us up there. But I guess, you know, it wasn't really carrying much of a payload, so it's kind of understandable. So we'll time warp here slightly, and our parachute's going to deploy in just a minute. We don't even need our SAS on, to be honest with you. The weight of the vessel will just pull us down. And there's the SRB. Hey there. He's obviously falling a lot slower than we are. We must be heavier, which is kind of interesting. So our parachutes are going to deploy in just a minute, I hope. If they don't deploy, we're in trouble. They should deploy at about 2,300 meters then. I really hope they do deploy. There they go. Awesome. And our SRB is going to now start catching up with us most likely. There it is. It's coming closer. So we've just bypassed it, and now it's going to come straight past us again once our parachutes deploy and we slow down even further. It's going to be quite funny. There it goes. Woo! And we get to watch a spectacular crash as well. Well, maybe not that spectacular. It's landing in the water, so perhaps not too much in the way of explosions. And down it goes. Splosh any second now. Oh wait, no, we're still really high up. I should have let our parachutes deploy a little earlier, a little later rather. Down it goes, 1.8 kilometers, and crash. Do it. There we go. Not much of a spectacular crash after all, but we're coming down at 5.5 meters per second, so it's going to be a while before we hit the water here. So again, I'm going to cut and wait until we splash down before we test our brand decoupler here. And we are down in an excruciatingly slow landing. But hey, now it is time to test our Rocketmax brand decoupler and finish this fourth and final contract. Bosh! Wow! That went miles. Awesome. Well, it's good to know that that has so much ejection force, so when we're out in space, we're going to be able to eject our loads miles... Oh, wait, that sounds so wrong. Anyway, contract complete. We got more science. We got more funds. Awesome. We got some reputation. Let's recover our vessel, get Jebediah back, and hopefully that has opened the door now to doing some really awesome stuff. We're nearly at 200k, which is fantastic, and... well, plenty of funds in the bank. Jebediah's back. Reputation is aplenty as well. Let's quickly check mission control then. See if there's anything reasonable here. Usually now, at this point in time, when we've got this much rep, things are going to get very tough. And, well, the contracts are going to be almost impossible to do at this moment. I'm trying to see what we can do. Science data from around Kerbin? How have we not done that before? That's ridiculous. That's 35k free money. We're having that. We want to build a surface outpost on the Mun that's supposed to hold 5 Kerbals. Yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. Not with our budget. Perform visual surveys of Kerbin. We could do that, but it's going to be tough because we don't have access to planes at the moment. We don't have landing gear. We don't really have much aerodynamic stuff. So we can't really afford that, unfortunately. Test the LV-1 liquid fuel engine orbiting Kerbin. I kind of have the feeling we've done this before, but I'm not going to complain. We'll accept it. Build a new orbital station on a solar orbit, supporting 8 Kerbals. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do that. We can only take 1 Kerbal up at a time. Supporting 8? It's not going to happen for now. Okay. Test the mainsail liquid engine orbiting Kerbin. We are going to do that. The mainsail, by the way, is a really awesome rocket. It has a huge amount of thrust output, and now we have access to the 2.5 meter parts. We're going to whack that bad boy on the bottom of it, and that's going to take us up really high, and we're going to get a ton of funding. So this is going to be a really important mission here. We're going to get a lot of funds from it once we complete it, and with that, we are hopefully then going to be able to set up a little bit of a space station orbiting Kerbin, which is going to be awesome, let's be honest. So we've got ourselves this tiny, piddly, crappy engine that we need to test, and we've got this massive engine that puts out 1,500 thrust. That is over double anything our other engines can do. Even the skipper here doesn't even put out half the power that this one does. So that's going to be what powers us up to orbit. And we're going to make a really efficient spacecraft here, I think. So let's stick our command pod on, as usual, starting from the top, and check our contracts window as well while we do this. So we want to transmit or recover scientific data from Kerbin. So let's add ourselves a little communotron so that we can send that data back. There we go, good stuff. And what data are we actually going to send back? That's the question. I mean, we've pretty much done all the science we can do. I guess we'll just have to figure something out. Oh, I know what we can do. Let me just save this vessel real quick. Let's call it the Mainsail Tester. What an original name. Now, one thing we've not unlocked yet is the ability to EVA whilst we're in the air. And this is something that we could do from space and send back. So that's awesome. What we have to do is upgrade our astronaut complex. And that will allow us to EVA and place flags. It will also allow us to have more active Kerbals, which is going to be useful for when we set our space station up. So let's upgrade this for 70,000 money. It's not a huge amount to pay, and we're going to be able to get science now by doing EVA reports whilst in the air, which means that we can fulfill this contract. All we have to do is get into space, so above 70,000, do an EVA, and then transmit it back using the communotron, which, by the way, might not be able to reach back. Let's just see the range on that thing. These now have range, so that we have to be within a certain range of Kerbin. That's 2.5 million meters. That's gonna be fine. We're only going up to 70 or 80,000. Yeah, 80,000. So, okay. So this is going to be great. We're going to be getting so much money from this. So what we want to do then is test 2 engines whilst in orbit. We're going to want to test this little piddly one, and we're going to want to test the big one. Now, I think we can actually have radial mount engines using the mod that I've got here, the radial mount engine mod. And that's going to allow us to stick engines on the side, this LV1 on the side. Now, it looks ridiculous, but we'll sort that out when we get to it. We've got to get up to orbit first, and I want to do a single stage to orbit rocket, which is going to be awesome, I'm telling you. So first things first, we want to put a radial stack decoupler on here so that we can actually decouple that when we come back. And of course we're going to want to stick a, you know what, we'll get rid of that, we'll just stick a standard parachute on the top. We don't need radial parachutes for this. And we'll stick our communotron like on the back or something. Just, yeah, there we go. That's going to be great. Hopefully that won't snap off when we launch. Fingers crossed for that one. So then we'll do a single stage to orbit, and we'll basically stick our KW Rocketry fuel tank on, a big fuel tank, which will extend into a 2.5 meter fuel tank. And then we'll stick a big 2.5 meter fuel tank on, followed by the mainsail engine, and that's going to give us 3,900 delta V, which is not quite enough to orbit, I don't think. So the simple answer here, with this much thrust to weight ratio, just add another fuel tank. It's gonna be fine, believe me. Great, and now we get about 5,000 delta V, and we still have a positive thrust to weight ratio, which is the main thing here. We're also probably going to want an SAS module, because this is going to pull a whole lot of torque, and we're going to struggle dealing with that. So SAS module there on the bottom. And I think we are about ready to launch. It's going to be a really basic rocket, but a single stage to orbit. You cannot sniff at that. Let's quickly though get our LV1 engines here. These are so crap, it's unreal. We want to stick these guys on the side. So I want to stick this on, scale it down, and try and put this underneath here. There we go. Doesn't that look great? We're going to test that once we get to orbit. It's ridiculous, but it'll do the job. So then we just need to sort out our staging sequence, and that's going to be fire that. Then we'll want to fire this. Then we'll want to decouple it. And we're going to be golden. This is so basic. There's hardly any parts here. And we're going to be able to do an awesome, awesome little mission to get a ton of money. And with that money, we are going to start production of our space station, which is so exciting, and I cannot wait for it. So hopefully this isn't going to cause any drag issues. I put it in such a weird location, but it doesn't matter. Let's just throttle up and watch as our mainsail takes us all the way into orbit here. This is going to be so fantastic. So we can throttle back already. Like, as you guys know, we don't want to be going much faster than 100 meters per second, below 10,000 meters. But as we are aiming to go to orbit here, we're going to start doing a gravity turn at 8,000, and we'll let our speed creep up slightly as we go as well. Now, the nice thing about this is as we rise, our specific impulse gets greater and greater, meaning that we use less and less fuel, and the engine becomes more and more efficient. We've already burnt out this top stage, this top fuel tank, and we're burning through our fuel pretty rapidly. But, like I say, as we get higher, our fuel consumption will be less and less. As we throttle down in the lower atmosphere, our fuel consumption will be less. And I mean, this is going to be awesome. It's not very often you get to do a single stage to orbit, but because our payload is so small, we're going to have no trouble doing that at all. So keeping this throttle low here, we're nearly at 8,000, and we're going 169 meters per second. Time to start turning, and we'll tilt now, and we'll start throttling up slightly to about half throttle. That SAS module keeping us steady, which is all good. And I mean, without that, we'd probably be struggling because the torque that this causes will cause us to go all over the place. So that's just keeping us on the straight and narrow, which is great. It is costing a little bit of electricity to use, but it's really not too bad because, I mean, that is basically being powered by the engine. The engine is creating electric charge as it's being used, so that's great. So we're gaining speed really quite quickly. We'll check our apoapsis here. We want to bring it up to, what do we want to bring it up to here? We want to bring it up to 78,000 meters or more. And that's going to be great. We want to just get it up to 78,000. We'll be there in a matter of seconds. This is just going to be so efficient. I love it. It's an awesome engine that we will not have access to for quite some time after we've completed this contract. It's an experimental part. So there we go, 79,000. Bring us up slightly more here. We're going to slow down slightly due to the atmosphere. We'll bring it up to 80. And we'll go higher and higher. Awesome stuff. And now we're kind of out of the atmosphere. We can start doing an EVA. So once we get up to 70,000 meters, we'll EVA it. And Jebediah here will be able to get a little bit of science data from that as well, which is awesome. And our apoapsis here going to be very close to 80,000, almost spot on. Wow. That doesn't get much better than that. Alright, 70,000 meters then. We're into space. And we can do our EVA. Awesome. And we'll do an EVA report now. 8 science. It's not a lot, but it's fine. Let's transmit that data. Oh, yeah, we need to actually board with that first. Now we can transmit it. So we want to just activate our communitron. There we go. And that's going to cost us a little bit of electric charge, so we want to be quick. And we want to review the data and transmit that back. That's done, and we completed that contract. We'll stick our communitron back in, deactivate it, and that contract got us 30,000 monies, which is great. We didn't get any science for it, really, but I'm not complaining. That's really quite good. We're nearly at apoapsis, actually. Oh dear, we've gone past it. I need to be very careful now. Turn our SAS back on here. We need to start widening our trajectory out so that we can actually go into orbit. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a single stage to orbit. If it's not, then we're stuck. We're pretty stuffed, but I think we're going to be absolutely fine, to be honest with you. And oh, okay. Well, I'm bringing our apoapsis up a little bit high here. We need to be careful. I almost went too far there, and we've not got a lot of fuel left, so I'm going to be very careful. Let's face prograde. And just be really careful about when I'm firing this engine. I accidentally let that get a little too high. So, thrust up here and get into orbit. There we go. We need to bring that up to 70,000 meters. How much fuel have we got left? Plenty, I hope. Let's bring that up to 70. Go on, there we go. Now we're in orbit. Great. And we need to activate our next engine, which is going to be this little piddly thing on the side. We want to just literally click run test once we get up to, or once we get down to the right altitude. We've gone a little bit high, like I say, but we will come down now. We're going to be losing altitude as we come towards our periapsis. So once that's below the right altitude, which it is, SAS needs to come off as well. Otherwise we're going to be using our electric charge up. And if we use all of our electric charge, we're screwed. Because I did not bring any solar panels. So that's all conditions are met. We just need to run the test here. Great, contract complete. 42,000 funds, 60 science, and 505 reputation. Wow, we're loaded on the reputation at the moment, which is great. So finally, we need to test the mainsail engine. So in order to do that, we need to click Run Test. Again, once we get below a certain altitude, and as we come towards our periapsis, we're going to do just that. So just fast forward time. Good job we have warp drive. Everything's done. Let's run the test. And bam, we've got ourselves another contract complete. 412,000 money, 72 science, and 570 reputation. We are officially loaded, and now we just have to get back to Kerbin, and we can do exactly that very easily. So all of our contracts are complete. I could not be happier. Let's bring up our resource panel here and basically just land ourselves back down. Now we want to land ourselves down near enough to the Kerbal Space Center, so we'll warp things up again here and wait for ourselves to come around the planet slightly. And then we'll attempt to land down fairly close to the Space Center. Like we can't be too dead on because we don't have a lot of fuel, but we just want to be able to bring our orbit down low enough so that we hit the atmosphere, and that should be all good. So let's put SAS on, turn retrograde. Now this is going to use a bit of electric charge, and hopefully not too much electric charge. I think we'll be okay though. And now we fire retrograde and bring our orbit as low as possible. There we go. Fantastic. Fire that, and we'll want to land pretty much on top of KSP. KSC even. There we go. That's pretty close. I've not got enough fuel here to be messing around with changing that trajectory. So let's just activate that engine here. And we want to fire this off the side now. Just get rid of that. Adios! Down to the ground it goes. And now we want to quickly turn to prograde. And we'll eject this stage so that it goes behind us with our decoupler. We'll eject the SAS module as well with that, which is fine. Now eject, goodbye, and now we can turn off SAS, or face retrograde, sorry. Then turn off our SAS to save or conserve electricity, and we're going to come down now, burn up through the atmosphere, and we're going to end up pretty close to the Kerbal Space Center. We're going to be right on the shore, very close nearby. And this is the mod that I was using, the Trajectories mod. It's fantastic. It lets us know exactly where we are, or where we're going to land, sorry. And that's awesome because later on we're going to be trying to do, like, you know, propulsive landings without using a single parachute to land back at the Kerbal Space Center. And that's going to be part of our recoverable, reusable space program, which is awesome. So let's bring ourselves down then and keep our SAS off. We don't want to run out of electricity. That's going to be like one of the worst things to happen. Otherwise, if, well, we run out of electricity, Jebediah is probably going to die of air poisoning or bad air. We don't want that. So we're probably going to burn up here, but we should be fine. This capsule comes with a ablative heat shield on it already, so we don't have to worry about adding a heat shield on. And as we come down, we're going to start burning up, and we're going to land very close to the Space Center. So Jebediah doesn't have to walk too far, which is awesome. That part in front of us is probably going to burn up and explode. I don't know if it actually will. It seems to be floating a little bit high. No, that's going to bounce off the atmosphere by the looks of things. Never mind. So there we go, on the way down, and our ablative heat shield here going to be used up. Well, the temperature is 650 degrees. I like the fact that it shows us the temperature in this mod. It's awesome. And as you can see, our heat shield's going to get used up, but it's not going to get used up nearly quickly enough to run out. And we're going to land completely safely. Look at that, a little communitron on the side. Getting pretty damn hot. 1,000 degrees? Are you kidding me? How did that thing not break off? I thought they were really weak. But I guess I'm wrong. So down we come, and there's the Kerbal Space Center right in front of us. So we're coming down pretty close, just off to the right, but that's fine. We'll speed things up here, and as we come down, we'll deploy our chute, and hopefully not land in the water. I guess it doesn't really matter if we land in the water or not. We can deploy the chute now, and that'll come out once we get to the right altitude. In fact, you know, I'm going to reduce that altitude a little bit here so we don't spend forever floating to the ground, as happens all too often. There we go, shoot out, and it's going to slow us down. At 1,200 meters, that will deploy. There we go. And down we come at 7.7 meters per second. Pathetically slow, but that's fine. Down we go. So we're down, and it's time to recover the vessel. And with that, I think we have put ourselves into a fantastic position. Just wait until we see this. Look at it. Oh my goodness me. 682,000 funds, 197 science. That is fantastic. We're going to hop into the R&D department here. Obviously, we are going to want to unlock a couple of nodes. We can afford to unlock 2, and I'm going to go ahead and unlock fuel systems and space exploration. Fantastic. And with that, with all of that money, I think we are going to be able to do some awesome stuff in the next episode. I'm looking forward to setting up a space station to orbit Kerbin for, well, for as long as we can possibly keep it up there. So that's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to get on with that. So anyway, that's it from me. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As usual, I've been Zach, and I will see you all next time.